people have asked me about my work with Belial, and specifically whether there are any dangers connected to working with Belial, or problems that may arise in the process. So basically I would say it is always a good idea, or it is always a good idea to have a solid basis, first of all, as a starting place. So what do I mean by a solid basis? A solid basis is that you can connect to your unconscious self. So this is probably a very important point that is often underestimated, because when we think of work or our work with the spirits, first of all we think about what can the spirits bring into our life. And of course they bring things into our life, but oftentimes they may do this indirectly. So when you work with Belial, he has a tendency, at least this applies to my own work with him, he has a tendency to really stimulate that unconscious part of yourself, the emotional unconscious part of yourself. You need to be prepared for a time where things get a bit rough. So this may be relationships, job situations, connections with colleagues or relatives, friends, spouses, your spouse for example. Things like that may get a little bit, how would you say that, out of order, so to say. So when you work with Belial, your relationships may take on a different character. Your own perception, or your perception of yourself, will also gain a different character. By that I mean you learn a lot about yourself during the process. And even though you may think that you know yourself well, there are lots of parts in our unconscious that are like buried and difficult to access. Our dream states may reveal a lot about the way we process information, or the things that we have repressed in our past, the things we have repressed, or the things we repressed in our childhood, the things we want in life. You have to think about the unconscious in a way that it is a place which in a sense buries all the parts that were difficult in your life, all the aspects in your life that you have not been able to process correctly. It also includes all the wishes you have, but the wishes that you have pushed away, pushed to the side, because confronting or realizing and manifesting these wishes in your life have been a difficult part because of certain factors. And this may also be associated with emotional, painful experiences. This is a very specific aspect when working with them. And of course, it also depends for sure on your petition, on your intention that you verbalize in a ritual. So be very careful how you word your petition. When you want to change yourself, when you want to introduce changes in your life, then this also requires profound changes in the person that wants to lead another life or wants to experience new things. So in order to become more complete, let's say professionally or in a certain area of your private life, does not matter in which area specifically, but let's say you want to be a different person in a particular aspect of your life, then this requires a profound change in the person, and you have to be aware of the fact that the person you are right now is not the person who will experience these changes that you ask for. So bearing that in mind, this is the important point, I think. And if you are scared, or if you are worried and you're not sure whether you should work with Belial or any other spirit, but this is about Belial, if you're not sure about whether you want to work with them, then first of all, I would say clearly address the things that you want to change in your life. Be very specific regarding the things that you ask for, but also try to get a, how can I say that? Try to get a more complete perception of yourself. Be more aware, even if you are already aware of the things that you fear in life, aware of the things that you want in life. And even if you think you know the issues you have, for example, things that you cannot deal with on a social level, or even if you are very sure about the things that you can improve regarding your personality, regarding your social life, go a bit deeper, and always bear in mind, or always have this idea in mind, that this spirit will not probably, I'm not saying that these are not the aspects that will be brought to the surface again so that you continue working on these aspects, but be prepared for a time where you will be confronted with an even further layer of unprocessed information, and even a further layer of buried material of your past. And connected to that data, let's just call it data or information, connected to that information that you have pushed to the side, avoided, connected to that layer of information that you have pushed to the side, repressed in some way. Connected to that is another layer of information that the spirit will introduce into your life. The spirit will address these unconscious aspects of yourself and will introduce new experiences in a very direct way. So that you are not able to push the things to the side again and again. And if you're worried about working with Belial, don't worry about Belial. Don't worry that he may be that he may harm you or things like that. I mean, of course, there's a certain risk when you work with these spirits, and I always stress that. If you watch my other videos, I always point out that if you're not sure, just leave it. If you are unsure whether this is the right spirit for you, and you have certain fears related to that spirit, it is a good idea to make a step back and reconsider your decision. And I'm not the person who says or recommends that you just jump into it and see what happens. Get more information, get support from a mentor, for example, or from a spiritual teacher who can teach you stuff or inform yourself. There's so much information on the internet, so you can find basically anything you want nowadays. So, having said that, it is not necessarily the spirit you have to be afraid of. It is rather a decision you have to make whether you are really ready to face yourself. Are you really ready to look yourself in the eye And are you really ready to deal with the consequences of that? Things will be split off, or things will be removed from your life which are no longer a necessary part of your life. So the internal change that you go through is also reflected in all these minor or all these peripheral changes in your environment. So everything basically aligns to that new mindset, to that new philosophy that you are going, or that new path that you're walking, with a new philosophy in mind. And this is important to be aware of, I think. The idea that you are stepping into a new chapter of your life. And really embrace that idea. Really embrace the idea that you become something new. You are no longer that person who was suffering from these problems or the things that you want to change in your life. You're no longer that person. I'm not saying all these, and this is also another point which is important to address, and I could potentially talk about that for much longer. It is so important to realize that when you call that spirit into your life, it is not an immediate change. It is the beginning. It is like an awakening. Like this is the thing that has always caused these problems or these issues in my life. So now I see what I have to change. It is the process of becoming aware of yourself in all the aspects in your life around you that are connected to that. Become aware of that and be active in changing your life. And this is a long process. So when you call the spirit into your life, this is just the first step. It is like an initiation into a new path of your life.